Hey guys, ladies, fellas, this is the Football Frame of Mind podcast. Today it'll be our weekly show, man. We go through everything football, man, college football, recruiting, high school, and then the playoffs for the pros, man, pro game. So we're gonna get into a little bit of that today. Like I said, we don't have too many games to go over because games are going down the playoffs, man. It's not that many games to go over, but uh, we will get into some coaching news as well. I don't know if you got anything on recruiting, Brandon, but I do, so I will bring that up today. Um, but before we get started, man, how you doing, man?
Oh, we're doing good, man. Ready to talk some playoffs, ready to talk some college, ready to talk some coaching hires, all that good stuff.
All right, man. So, obviously, we gotta pay our bills first, right? That's what we say around here. So shout out to Off the Ball Network, man. One of the greatest uh business partners for us, man. Our platform, their platform helps our platform, man, and we just like being a part of their team. Don't forget Bet US, man. Gosh, one of the oldest sports books on the market, man. We keep a link in our description. Well, both of our sponsors. So check them out. But Bet US especially, man. Some great deals. Obviously playoffs is heating up, man. So put your bets in there, man. I'm rolling with the Ravens, man. Hopefully, we get this third Super Bowl in franchise history, man. Uh, so we can start this reign of terror, man. So, but like I said, we got some link in the description. Check it out, man. If you have trouble with gambling, they also offer help for that too. So, check them out. They have all your needs, man. We are everywhere streaming, not streaming, but we have our podcast everywhere. Anywhere you get your podcast from, anywhere. So, Spotify, Apple, whatever, Deezer, we're on there too. So, check us out, man. Football Frame of Mind podcast, man. We should just pop up, man. So, also still cold out here. We got that Arctic blast. So, um, you want to get you a hoodie, man. We got some good stuff on there. So, also, man, we got shorts, we got long view videos, man. Check all of that out on our YouTube channel, man. Our shorts are heating up. We always have some good takes on there, and we're pretty good to talk about the current events, without always having to do long things. And if you're into long videos, we got that. We got a collection of all of our stuff, man. So you can catch up. It's not too much unless you binge watch. Like we got everything. So check us out, man. Like I said, we're everywhere. Got the store, everything. So everything we want to be a part of our family, man. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into this football talk, man. So all right. So we're gonna start with the NFL, man, because college is kind of hit or miss. And I kind of want to save my take on high school recruiting last. So let's recap some of the games, man. So what's one game that stood out to you, man? I mean, we go over it, but what was the game that still stood out for you?
So for me, that game would be definitely the first one that popped up. Uh, let's talk about Detroit, bro. Detroit gets their second playoff win in a row at home, and they move on to the NFC Championship game, have a chance to be able to go to their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Uh, Man, they played really well. Jared Goff threw for almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jameer Gibbs had a really good game as well as Amon-Ra St. Brown. Give credit due to the Buccaneers. Baker threw for 350 yards, but a lot of people will continue to say Baker doing Baker things. ended up throwing a couple of interceptions that kind of did not help their cause to try to move on here in their playoff push. But nonetheless, good season for them. But proud of Detroit, and they have a chance to move on to the Super Bowl next week.
Yeah, man. This was a good game, man. I talk about time of possession all the time. That's like my thing to look at in a game. It's like a telltale of what really went right and what really went wrong. But time of possession in this game was even. Pretty much. I mean, 32 minutes to 28 minutes for between the two teams. So like it was a pretty close game, man. Like, I mean, you get to the third quarter, and this is a tie ball game. And at that point, you're looking at it like, well, who wants it more? People hold up the fours in the fourth quarter, man, to let them know, like, hey, this is where it counts. This is one of those games, man. So, the Lions pretty much, closed it out in that fourth quarter. But like, dude, this game was still in the balance, man. And like I said, people say Baker doing Baker things. I mean, he's a gunslinger, man. He's like Brett Favre's son. Like that's how he plays, He plays exactly like that. So you're gonna get some good and you're gonna get some bad. And to be honest with you, the way he plays, I'm not that surprised that he threw two interceptions. But I'm more, surprised at his pass attempts, man. 41 for the whole game. Like they was letting him sling it. So when you do that, you might throw a couple interceptions, but he made some plays because other than those two interceptions, the completion percentage isn't that bad. Completing because we've seen with the Cowboys, last week, Dak threw 61 pass attempts or something like that, but he only completed like 24 of them or something like that. So it's not, that's not as good at all. You know what I'm saying? So at least he was completing a lot of these. So, but like I said, man, I'm under the impression that Baker's about to get paid in the off season. I don't really think it'll be 40 million a year. I mean, I don't
Mm-mm,
really
not, no, no, I don't think they're
I
paying him
would
that
be
much.
I think he can control the market though. So it might get up to 40 million because it's other teams that need quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? But if I was him, I would just stick with Tampa Bay because you got something going rather than jump into another team that's unfamiliar to you. So,
Mhm.
like I said, I'm pretty sure they're gonna extend Mike Evans to try to keep him there, a familiar weapon. Obviously helping the run game by keeping I forgot who their running back is. Let me see.
Don't forget about Godwin either, bro.
Yeah, Godwin's really good. So like I said, man, the Bucks have a really good chance of I wouldn't say, winning the division next year because like I feel like it's a couple teams in there. The Saints still got a good defense. And the Falcons, I feel like, are one quarterback away. And then you got the Buccaneers because the Panthers are completely trash. Like they're done. They're done this year and maybe next year they're gonna be really bad. So, and actually, to be honest with you, I know it's off topic, but I don't know who their coach is gonna be because that's like a lame duck scenario, man.
They're
Like,
not gonna fix it in a year. That's gonna take about 2, 3 years to even get it even salvageable.
yeah, because you don't have a first round pick this year. So technically, like I
You'd
don't
have to trade one of your best players to get that draft pick back.
yeah, and I mean I would hate to say it, but Brian Burns might be on the move for them to get back into the first round this year. And
Mm.
and I'm okay with that, man. I don't know, I really don't know how Bryce is going to I don't know how he's gonna survive this because he's coming from a weird spot, man. He won in high school a lot and he won at Bama a lot. So coming into this where you only win like 2 or 3 games a year, like how are you gonna do that while getting beat up? You know what I'm saying? Like that's tough, man. So I think if he can come out of this and they still have faith in him after what, 2 years, 3 years of rebuilding, I think it'll be all right. And he might be on his way to being one of the best quarterbacks in the league because he'll be hardened from being beat up so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, we've seen it before, with quarterbacks that have to go through rebuilds and they just come out the other side like a whole different beast. You know what I'm saying? So it happens, man. But getting back to this Buccaneers Lions game, shout out to golf, man. Golf is playing his
He's top
tail
10.
off, man. Like he is really, really playing his tail off, man. So I don't know what his contract situation is, but he's gonna get paid too. They're gonna extend him for a while. They're not gonna let him go anywhere because he's been responsible for giving them some stability on offense, man. So I think when the Rams drafted him number one, this is the player that they were trying to get to, you know. And I feel like he's coming into his own, man. And they got some really good players, man. And you know me, I knew Jameer Gibbs was a first round running back anyway, because I told you, like when we talked about, the devaluing of the running back position, I said you're not gonna be a first round running back if you can't do everything. We talking pass block, we talking catching, and not just catching out the backfield. We talking lining up at receiver and the slot, making moves, jet sweeps, everything. And then of course you got to be able to run the ball, right? But uh, Gibbs did all of that. You know what I'm saying? All of that. So I was like, man, that's a perfect weapon for them to have, you know. And then you got Montgomery as well, so he's your power. And then you got a shifty guy in Gibbs who can do everything. He's a mismatch, along with the other mismatches that you have on offense. Jameson Williams is a mismatch with his speed. St. Brown is the same way. So then you got Laporta at tight end. So you got some ballers on this team,
They
man.
just signed Zach Ertz too
You
to help
see,
their playoff push.
so I'm saying, you see, Zach Ertz is a playoff. He's been in the playoffs before, and he's a
Hmm.
power guy. So if you want to run, you stick him at tight end, and I'm sure he wants to win a championship. So he's going to give it all. You know what I'm saying? He's going to give it his all, man, to try to win a championship. And like I
I
said,
think
when
he
you
won one
deal,
with the Eagles.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, you want to later in
Yeah,
his
won
career,
another.
later in your career, you want to win some more. Like I said, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer by any means, but you still want to win. And I feel like winning in Detroit would mean a whole lot more than winning somewhere else because this would be their first Super Bowl.
I mean,
So
yeah.
so it's like being a part of that. It's not a baseball show, but remember when the Cubs won one that had been like 100 years, right? Like everybody on that team is considered a legend and probably won't have to pay for another pizza for the rest of their lives. You know what I'm saying? Just because they're a part of it. So I expect it to be the same way with Detroit if they were to win that first Super Bowl. Um, so like I said, good game, man. Like I said, I'm loving this Detroit train, but I think it's gonna end probably next week, bro. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a tough game if they have to play next week. But one of the games that obviously I want to talk about is my Ravens, man. Like I said, the Texans had this crazy wild card weekend win. Like, I mean, dropped 40 on Cleveland, man. Wasn't expecting that at all, honestly. Um, but they had a different beast. I told you before the season started, the Ravens got a Super Bowl defense, dog. Only thing that was gonna stop us from winning was the quarterback. Lamar Jackson and his turnovers. And as you can see, when Lamar Jackson don't turn the ball over, we a pretty good team. Like I said, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Then he ran for 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was straight terrorizing them all game. You know what I'm saying? And they couldn't do nothing with him, man. Like they couldn't do nothing with Lamar. And they said CJ Stroud, that was a cool wild card weekend, but you got some growing to do. And we was getting after him, man, and that's kind of where what we were doing early on in the season. But I figured it was so early in the season when we played him that he would be a different quarterback. And early in the game, he was. We kept him in the game a little bit too long, but we started to do some different things on defense in the second half. I think confusing them and then hitting them a lot too. And then once we got up, I want to say once we got up that touchdown in the third quarter, then we start putting the vice on them. Where you know how we slow the pace down and start running. That's really kind of our wheelhouse. If we're up, we're in a cush spot. But we get behind, that's when it gets a little hairy because now Lamar has to pass more, and that's what I really don't want them to do. But great game. Like I said, man, defense. I was very, very impressed with the defense, dog. Like I said, Roquan Smith. I say it to the end of time, and Patrick Queen are the best linebacker duo in the league. I will speak on it all off season until we get that guy signed, man. You know Patrick Queen very well. I know Roquan Smith very well because he was terrorizing Bama running backs for about 3 years. So, um, like I said, you know Patrick Queen very well. So I know that he's a good guy, and I saw enough for him to know that he was going to be a good fit, for what we needed to do. So, like I said, good game. I was excited that we won because now we get to, kind of, exercise some demons for the next round. You know, we got to beat the Chiefs, man. That's really been the bugaboo for everybody. Like the only person that really beat them was Burrow. That's it. And even with that, it wasn't like it wasn't like he beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like it was still if they had more time, I don't know, man. That was a close
You know
game.
a crazy stat though? You know a crazy stat about the Chiefs? Since Mahomes has been the full time starter, what it's been like 5 or 6 years, he's never not been in the AFC Championship game. That's crazy.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying, bro? Like even though Burrow beat him, it's still in the AFC championship game. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like he's gotta be, it's a bugaboo, man. Like you gotta beat him. Like
It's
if
like when you
you
ran into the Patriots. It's the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, man, like that was the Ravens bugaboo too. The Patriots and the Steelers, because typically the Steelers were the first thing that you had to get by. And back then offense was kind of the thing that we struggled with, right? But the Steelers had offense because they've had, Big Ben, Hines Ward, Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker, all these guys.
Even after that, dude, even when they had Bell and Brown and those guys, y'all had trouble trying to get through them because they
Yeah,
could score so much points.
yeah, like it just kept getting worse because we couldn't score with them. You know what I'm saying? But our defense was so excellent that it wasn't like it took a lot to beat us. You know what I'm saying? Because we would stop them, but the game would be like what, 21-14. You know what I'm saying? 28-21. It'd be so close, but they would just have enough offense to beat us. And then once we got Joe Flacco, those things changed a little bit because now we had a guy. Actually, you know what? It was the combination of Joe Flacco, Anquan Bolden, and Torrey Smith. that completely changed our thing, and the fact that we got Jim Caldwell as our offensive coordinator. Like he just opened it up, you know, to the point where now, Torrey Smith can beat you over the top because, Joe Flacco is crazy arm strength, right? Crazy big arm. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Anquan Bolden, who really kind of wanted to be his own guy. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but he was kind of playing in the shadow of Larry Fitzgerald when he was in Arizona at that time. So when Anquan came to us, he was kind of our Heinz Ward, a guy that was tough, strong hands, and not afraid to go up and get it either, So like I said, it just gave us a identity on offense at that time. So I felt like that was really good. So now, let me fast forward. Now you're looking at the Ravens like, all right, they've always done things different. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wanted to be offensive, centric, but the Ravens have always been defensive centric. Ever since they became a franchise, it's always been about defense. So now, you know, we shifted focus with this guy Lamar Jackson, which is freaking crazy to me. Like I never thought he would be on our team. Let's just say that. I didn't think we would be able to get him because I felt like he wasn't even gonna be there at the time, if you ask me, So but like I said, man, I look forward to this next week, man. I get on a rant when I talk about my Ravens, man, because we come from humble beginnings. Let's just say that. Like we come from humble beginnings, man. But yeah. So let's get into these next couple games, man. So, all right. So I want to get your take on the Packers and 49ers, man. What you think about this game? Because I felt like this was the game to kind of look at the future of the NFC, man. Because I feel like this is
Yeah.
a matchup we're gonna see for a while.
Yeah. Uh, the only thing is Jordan Love's still young, and everybody needs to slow their roll. He does still have a learning curve. He did have a really good first year, but he doesn't have any playoff experience. He had a really good game last week, and this week, kind of reality check had to come in and be like, "No, you still got some stuff to learn." Because I'm not gonna say he cost them the game, but those turnovers really hurt them, man. Especially when they only lost by 3 points, man. You cut back on one of those interceptions, you might find yourself winning this game for sure. Because I mean, Aaron Jones ran for about 100 yards. Brock Purdy, I said Brock Purdy was going to come back and have a pretty good game. He did. He was able to spread the ball around. I think he threw a touchdown or two, and McCaffrey was able to get really involved and get him a couple of touchdowns. So I mean, it went down to the wire, man. But I think, especially in a high stakes game like this against the 49ers, man, you can't be turning the ball over because you give them the ball one too many times and they're not going to give it up. Even if it is by 3 points, man. They know how to win games. They've been here. They were in a Super Bowl, 3 years ago? I mean, and they retained a lot of the guys that were here, and all the other guys have experience as well. Kyle Shanahan's a good coach, man. They've got hella weapons on offense. They have a very good defense that does not get talked about enough. I mean, they held Green Bay to 21. Green Bay's not bad either. And I don't think Jordan Love looked terrible, man. He just needs to get settled in and just has to be able to take everything in, especially it's a big game, man. 49ers are a big game. Just be more careful taking care of the football, man. You can't be turning that ball over. Keep your team in a chance to win. Uh, Kudos to the 49ers, man. I think they probably have the most loaded roster in the NFC. And they're going to be taking on Detroit next week at home. So I definitely look forward to seeing that matchup. But from the Packers' perspective, I think you have a lot of good things to look forward to. I think Matt LaFleur definitely proved that he didn't need Aaron Rodgers to get playoff success, and I think they have a bright future ahead of them. I think he just needs to continue to work on developing him, retain those guys on defense because the Packers have a very underrated defense as well. And man, get Jordan Love another weapon or two because if they can get a really good number one, I'm not saying Christian Watson and Dobbs aren't good, but if you can get another really good number one guy in there, this offense could really take off going into next year for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a really good spot, man. And if you look at the game, man, they were winning 21-14 going into the fourth quarter. So not sure when those interceptions took place, but I can guarantee they probably took place in the second half because you really got the momentum going into the fourth quarter. So the only way you shift it like that to the point where they score 10 and you don't score any is
You
turnovers.
turn the ball over.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't necessarily think this is an alarming thing for the 49ers going against, Detroit next week, but I do think that uh, Detroit has the offense to really make it difficult for them to come back, like that. Because Goff is kind of like a surgeon, man. He doesn't really do too much turning the ball over anymore. Um, and yeah, they have a lot of weapons, but you don't want the league to get insurmountable, and you start running out of time. You know what I'm saying? Because then you put Brock Purdy in position he really doesn't need to be in. Like, don't get me wrong, he can win you the game, but you would rather him not pass for almost 50 times. You know what I'm saying? You would rather not that. You would rather mix it up like Shanahan does. You know what I'm saying? He's a really good like balanced play caller. You know what I'm saying? Brock Purdy gets enough touches to really, affect the game passing, right? And then he gives McCaffrey enough touches to really affect the game. You know what I'm saying? You mix in Kittle with the passing game and the running game, then of course you got Debo Samuel too, right? So he can mix it up, run and pass, right? Being a playmaker he is. So I like what the 49ers did in this game, man, to really kind of fight through it, to fight and win. So um yeah, man. So all right, last little recap game. We'll talk about the Chiefs and Bills, man. Like so not the shootout that maybe I was expecting because I was kind of I was kind of expecting them to go blow for blow because I'm like, Josh Allen's, he's a really, really excellent quarterback, man. And then you think about Mahomes, he ain't never out of a fight. It don't matter how crazy the game gets. Like he ain't never out of it. So, but they end up having a balanced game. The Chiefs, they end up winning, which was interesting to me simply because I thought this was maybe Josh Allen time to kind of end his demons. You know what I'm saying? Because the Chiefs have been his personal bugaboo. Because no matter where he goes, they have to go through the Chiefs. And this game wasn't this game in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So
Dude, he had a really good game too, man. It went down to the wire. The Chiefs just had more. He ran for like almost 80 yards. Like he ran a lot. He scored. I think he ran for 2 touchdowns. I think he threw for 2 touchdowns. He didn't play a bad game, man. The Chiefs they just wanted it more. They played a really good game. Mahomes was able to get the ball in the end zone enough times, and they ended up pulling it out in the end.
yeah, man. So yeah, dude. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know. Like I said, you know me, I don't like the Bills at all. Uh, but I felt like this was the opportunity to really get it. If you were
They had
going,
the momentum to do so.
yeah, you're at home, which is very rare for the Chiefs not to be at home. Um, and you got a chance. And to be honest with you, like I'm more confident about us playing against the Chiefs than Buffalo, to be honest with you. Because although the Chiefs offensively give us issues, right? Defensively, the Bills give us issues because they got like a smaller linebacker core. So when they,
They're fast on defense.
yeah, exactly, exactly. That was my point. They're really fast on defense. So when we do our like stretch runs and things like that, they can just shoot the gap all the time. You know what I'm saying? Which blows up the whole play. And then now we gotta kind of abandon the run a little bit. So that's the team that would kind of scare me more so than the Chiefs. But now the Chiefs going to the next round to play the Ravens. So we can get into the preview, man. Like I said, this was a good game. The Chiefs really balled out. Pachinko is like really good. I love the way he runs. He's like he's no nonsense, straight downhill. That's why I wish a lot of running backs would do. Like if you are a running back aspiring to play at the next level, whatever next level that is for you, watch Pachinko. Like that's all you need to do. Downhill, run to the hole and do what you gotta do. Like you ain't gotta do all this juking, none of that. North and south. So that's what I like. And he showed out. So but we can get into this preview, man. So AFC championship weekend, man. NFC Championship weekend as well. So, what matchup are you looking at? I'll take one and you take the other one.
Okay, we still got to pick both games, but it don't matter to me. We both got the same record now, so
I told you, man. You should have picked the Ravens, bruh.
I wanted to go with the Cinderella story.
Nah, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Ain't no Cinderella story. It's Lamar Jackson, okay? All right.
Mm,
That's the story. All right.
we'll see.
What's the story, man? Like I said, this ain't a wrestling show, but we finishing this story. All right.
Well, if we
Lamar
gonna pick
Jackson.
matchups, you get the AFC, I get the NFC then.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing.
So if I'm gonna give my rundown of the NFC, I'm just gonna give my pick for the AFC. I've been picking against Kansas City all year. I'm picking Baltimore. Baltimore's going to the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir. Come
The
on.
only time you're
About
gonna get me
time.
picking the
It's
Ravens.
about time you jump on the ship. Let's go. Let's go.
But I'm probably not gonna have them winning the Super Bowl. But we'll get into that another time.
Bro, what?
Uh,
What? The disrespect.
mm-mm, nah.
Oh
But
man.
this game, I think this game is gonna be a better game than the Chiefs and Ravens game, man. I just think that they are two really good teams. The Lions are on this cloud right now, and they're just playing really, really good. They're playing with a lot of confidence, but they're focused. They're not all over the place, just hype. Like they're playing really focused. The 49ers got a really good quality win last week. Man, it's tough because you have a 49ers team who has a lot of experience. Most of these guys have played on that last Super Bowl team. Kyle Shanahan's been there. A lot of these guys have playoff experience. Detroit doesn't have as much playoff experience. You have not gonna say a rookie head coach, but this is Dan Campbell's first time being this far in the playoffs. You have some guys on this team that have like Super Bowl experience, playoff experience. The only thing that is like a difference maker to me, this is the only thing that kind of like makes me think, is the quarterback position. One of these quarterbacks, he didn't get to play in the NFC Championship game really at all last year. Now, he's played really well, but when I look at the quarterback position for both teams, I look at Jared Goff, I look at playoff experience. He's played in the Super Bowl. He's had to play with a lot of pressure on his back, especially being on those Rams teams, man. And now with how good he's playing now, not forcing throws, not turning the ball over, putting the ball where it needs to be, racking up yards, putting his team in position to win, I think that's the difference maker. Because both of these teams are good on defense. Both of these teams are very stellar talent levels on offense and defense. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to quarterback play. I don't think Brock Purdy has a bad game, but Jared Goff knows what's at stake, man. This is his legacy at stake. This is Detroit's legacy at stake because, man, if he wins this game and punches the ticket for them to go to the Super Bowl, you're legendary at that point. And I think he's really got something to prove, man. I think this game goes down to the fourth quarter. I'm talking like last 2-3 minutes. I think this is going to be a nail biter. But if I'm going to bank on anything, I'm going to bank with the quarterback that has Super Bowl experience, has playoff experience, and has a lot more to prove. I'm going Detroit.
Okay, okay, nah, man, good pick, good pick, good pick. All right, so um, I think the 49ers have a lot more weapons than Detroit does in terms of star power. It just looks a little bit better. But I feel like Detroit's on a mission of momentum. You
Telling
know,
you, bro, it's a steam train.
and it's like it's not just a thing that you can just watch on film or whatever. It's really something
Mm-hmm.
you gotta feel. You know what I'm saying? And I've only felt this way about a team a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those teams. Like remember the Steelers that went from the wild card and had to win three road playoff games to go to the Super Bowl?
Are we
That
talking about when they played the Cardinals?
no, this was I think this was the one they played in Detroit when they played against Seattle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. You're talking about 2005.
Yeah, like that's the team. This is the kind of team I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you just got a lot of momentum. You get one game, then another one, and then another one, and you just go straight to the Super Bowl because you
That's
just
how I felt like when the Saints won the Super Bowl. Same thing. They just won a
yeah,
mission, and they went through
yeah,
like all these really good teams, just like the Lions are.
yeah. That's exactly how I felt. That's another team that I was gonna say. Like they just got another one and another one and another one, and just like it just kept going to the point where it was almost undeniable that they was going to the Super Bowl. It just felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
So um so that's kind of how I feel about the Detroit. So if I'm gonna pick some, I think I'm gonna pick Detroit, man, because I like this wave. I feel like they haven't wavered at all from how they play. Nothing's
Mm-hmm.
changed. They still play fast on defense, and they still play pretty balanced on offense, man. They know what they are, and so far it's been pretty good. It's beat a couple of good teams so far. So um yeah, so we can definitely get into that. But that's my NFC pick, man. I really like Detroit in there. So getting into the Chiefs and Ravens, man. So as I mentioned earlier, this is kind of the bugaboo for Lamar Jackson. He individually he has to beat Mahomes, right? Like if we're talking about quarterback play versus each other, he has to beat them. You know what I'm saying? It's like Manning and Brady. You know what I'm saying? Manning had to beat Tom Brady. He had to. If he didn't, it would have never, he never could have gone anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So every quarterback kind of has his bugaboo for for a matter. You know what I'm saying? So you think about other great quarterback rivalries, right? Big Ben, you know what I'm saying? He had to go through Tom Brady at one point. You know what I'm saying? You think about people later, like you think about Joe Montana and Phil Simms, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they had to go against each other in the NFC title game a few times. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have these rivalries, man. And this is pretty good, man. But Lamar is not done very well against Patrick Mahomes historically. So and he's gotta get it. This is the perfect time to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because the Chiefs are kind of down this year, man. I think they get to this championship just because they're better than the teams that they technically played against, you know. But the Ravens have the best chance to do it, man. This time you got a really good defense, man, and you finally have gotten Lamar Jackson some weapons, right? And the Chiefs aren't as star power heavy as they are, but when you have a generation of talent like Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, it can erase a lot of deficiencies, man. You know this personally with Tom Brady. Like, how many teams have you guys had when he was there that were star heavy? I can only he only had it for a stretch. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But for the rest of
When
it,
they had Moss and Welker and all them, that was that like
it
3 or 4 year stretch.
exactly. But for the rest of all of that, it was just a bunch of GAGs, just a
Hmm.
bunch of guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But you know what? Tom Brady masked all of that. You know what I'm saying? That team, those teams he had, wouldn't have won anything with anybody else leading them, right? And this is kind
Hmm.
of this is kind of Mahomes' Brady-esque moment, right? You know, you have to if you can win with this team and get them to the Super Bowl, then you really are in the GOAT conversation. Not just because you have all the stats and all of that, right? But this team is far less talented than his other teams. And if he can get to the Super Bowl with this team, then he's really in the GOAT conversation. Because it's plenty of guys that have done this, one with plenty of star power teams, right? But the ones that are in the GOAT conversations, the Mannings, the Bradys, the Dan Marinos, you know, those guys had teams that were bad, but they still won. Or at least when Dan Marino's tried to. You know what I'm saying? But that's my tail of the tape, right? Like Lamar Jackson is about to, if he can go to the Super Bowl and not only go to the Super Bowl but win it, it changes the whole landscape for how teams evaluate quarterbacks because now it opens the door for okay, I have a guy like Malik Willis, right? A guy of that skill set, right? That's a runner but has some passing ability. I can win with that. I'm not scared of drafting that because of one, the injury concern, or the fact that he won't be able to make the throws, right? We can build around him, right? Because right now that narrative is that nobody wants to touch a guy like that. Still there. Doesn't matter how good Lamar is and how many MVPs he wins, it doesn't matter. He has to win the Super Bowl to change that argument, to completely debunk it, to the point where you'll see a lot more Lamar Jacksons in the league 15 years from now than you would if he doesn't win. Because if he
Hmm.
doesn't beat Mahomes, the Mahomes esque type quarterback is just going to continue to grow. Like, see, we don't need Lamar. We just need somebody like Mahomes. And then you're gonna end up with a lot of players, a lot of players getting drafted trying to create what Mahomes is rather than just being themselves.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the storyline, in my opinion, on what I think this game is going to be. Now, obviously, I'm picking the Ravens, so I'm not going against the Ravens for the Chiefs. But this is a big game as far as storylines is concerned. It's way bigger than what people think it is. Like this is a huge game for the story history of the NFL, man. So when you look back at this game, you're gonna look at the league in like 15 years, and this will be kind of your ground zero for how the league shakes out. So yeah, Ravens win this game. I got Detroit and Baltimore in the Super Bowl, man. So gonna be a good game, man. So I'm excited, man. So we get Super Bowl picks for Super Bowl week. But that's my Super Bowl matchup. But now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about some college football, man. Be honest with you, I haven't necessarily followed too much, except, Bama football, as far as like what's going on. So we can kind of keep it team based today on what you've heard on your end and what I've heard on my end. So you start, man. What have you heard? from Tigerland.
Well, we can talk about recruits, but I'm going to talk about all the coaching changes we've done. If you guys don't know, we got Blake Baker from Missouri, huge deal. We got Bo Davis from Texas running our defensive line. We
Bro,
got Kevin
what?
Peoples from Missouri.
Bro, what? Who'd you get from Texas?
Bo Davis,
Bruh.
defensive line coach.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he's probably the best D line coach in the country, and we got him in Baton Rouge now.
Bruh. Yes, he is. That's the point. That's why I'm pissed
We
off.
got Corey Raymond back from Florida running the DBs. We got Kevin Peoples from Missouri.
God damn.
Telling you, defense is going to be nasty. They're already making splashes. I mean, we're doing really good in recruiting, but I kind of want to talk about the transfer portal. We got C.J. Daniels from Liberty. He's a really good receiver. He's going to really fit our kind of offense, as well as Xavier Thomas from Mississippi State. I think he's going to be a really good fit as well. And we got Jordan Gilbert, the safety from Texas A&M, is going to help us seal up our secondary. We've been really keying in on like corners and safeties in the recruiting trail and in the transfer portal. I mean, we're looking really good, man. We got Austin Osbury from Auburn too, defensive back. He's going to be pretty good for us as well. He's shoring up that defense, man. Those coaching changes, along with these guys we're getting in the portal and through the recruiting trail, man. And we just announced we have co-offensive coordinators now with Joe Sloan and I forget the other guy's name. We're making moves, man. Like people are questioning why we're not going after a lot of you guys. Is like I guess people that are leaving, but we're making moves on a lot of guys that people were kind of like letting slide under the radar. Uh, let's just say like if there's going to be any cause for concern next year, I don't think defense is going to be it because we had issues getting a push up front on the defensive line. Bo Davis is going to take care of that. Yeah, we lose Makai Wingo, Mason Smith leaves, which I don't think he should have left. Uh,
What?
defensive line is going to be better.
He
Yeah,
left?
he declared for the draft.
What?
I don't understand. I think he's just banking on his potential. He doesn't really have a whole lot of film to go off of. Like I feel like he really could have went. He's probably gonna be like a day 2 or 3 guy. There's no way he's first round
Yeah,
material.
like
Like
that's surprising, man.
it
But
surprised me. I was kind of hoping that he would have flipped his declare, but up to this point he hasn't filed any paperwork or anything. Uh, But I think we're going to be good, man. We've been really doing really well in recruiting, bringing a lot of these guys in, a lot of 4-star, 5-star guys, especially in the 2025 class. We've been getting a lot of big names there as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what this D line's going to do and what that defensive back room is going to do because we got Corey Raymond back from Florida.
yeah,
Telling you,
yeah.
and he bleeds purple and gold, bro. I'm glad he's back. I think we're going to be a lot better on defense. I'm hoping the offense can perform. We've got the weapons, we've got the quarterback. Hoping that Joe Sloan and them can really get things going and we can start scoring points. If we do, then we're going to be a force to reckon with in this new SEC for sure. But I am really curious to see what you have to say because I'm seeing a lot of hashtag burn Bama burn on Twitter and everywhere else right now. But I know you have a good rebuttal to that. So what have you had to say?
Well, before I get into Bama, getting Bo Davis, man, is one of the key things that'll probably set y'all in motion for another good run under Brian Kelly because losing Bo Davis from Bama was probably what kind of put us at a turbulent defensive thing.
Mhm.
Because when Bo Davis left, you got to think about some of the guys that was under him. You're talking Jonathan Allen. You're talking Deron
Leonard
Payne.
Williams.
You're talking Tim Williams. You're talking people like Ryan Williams. You're talking a bunch of guys, Christian Harris, or I think that's his name. Then you got other guys, Ashawn Robinson, Jaron Reed. These are NFL players right now. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Starting NFL players, might I add, on multiple teams. So when you're thinking about this, like understand that he was coaching these guys to a standard, right? And then he just gets in trouble for some recruiting violation, something stupid minor that probably wouldn't even be an issue today. But he got in trouble and had to resign. So, but y'all got a good one, man. Like he ain't taking no jump like at all. Reason why Texas defensive line was so good because of him. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere he's been,
Really, with
defensive.
him mixed with them other coaching hires, bro, he's building a dream team, bro. And you got a guy who turned Missouri's defense around in less than 2 years.
Yeah, and Raymond, I remember him being a big part of a couple recruiting battles between Bama and LSU, because he was a primary recruiter on a couple guys. And you know, him being there helped them get some of those guys. So that's big, you know what I'm saying? Big, big. So that was some big hires, man. So now I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, how much better y'all are on defense, man. Hopefully not too much better when we play y'all, but better nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? But as far as on the Bama side, man, it's a lot of hate going on, man. Like
Hmm.
a whole lot, and it's really just fan bases that probably done got their butts kicked by Bama for the last 17 years and really haven't got over it. And the fact that these schools have like been on their third or fourth coach within this 17-year run of Nick Saban, which is absolutely crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because Nick Saban done got a whole lot of coaches fired. You know what I'm saying? Bush Jones wasn't that bad at Tennessee, bro. He won like at least 9, 10 games a couple times, and he got fired.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a bunch of dudes. You know what I'm saying? Tennessee done been through a bunch of them after Bush Jones. You know what I'm saying? Old Miss done been through a bunch of coaches.
Look
Who
at Auburn.
Auburn done been through a couple coaches. You know what I'm saying? Y'all done been through a couple coaches. Although not all Nick Saban, not all Nick Saban. I will say that
Nah.
it's not all Nick Saban. It's not all Nick Saban's fault. Sometimes it's their fault. It's their
Well,
fault
those
too.
two were their fault.
Yeah, yeah. So y'all done been through it too, man. But not because of Nick Saban though. A lot of that, I say half and half. Some of it was Nick Saban. The rest of it, especially Les Miles and Ogeron, that was the half and half. That was them and Nick Saban. So
I think it's like 70. I think it's like 75, 25. 25 Nick Saban, 75 them.
See, I wasn't gonna go that high. I thought some years they actually beat Nick Saban. So I was like, I wasn't gonna go that high. But like I said, man, there's a bunch of schools, man. Like I mean, so many schools. Like I can go Mississippi State, been through a couple coaches, although one
Yeah.
unfortunately passed away, but definitely not, you know what I'm saying, definitely, that's not Nick Saban. That's just unfortunate. But other than that, the other coaches was definitely Nick Saban, bro.
Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, yeah, Gus Malzahn. Like, I mean, there's a lot of coaches, man, that have schools that have went through coaches just to try to beat Bama, man, and it hasn't gone that well. So a lot of games that we've beat people in that they, like I said, they haven't gotten over, and that's where the hate comes from, man. A lot of these fan bases don't really, um, you know what I'm saying? They don't really know how to like not hate on Bama, you know? And it's really not, I hate to say it, FCC schools do hating a lot, but it's really the outside schools for real. The Big Ten schools, the ACC and stuff, like people like that do a lot of the hating for real. Um and that's where it comes from, man. And now since Nick Saban's gone, they feel like Bama's really gonna like disappear or whatever. But I
They
feel
feel like
like,
they're gonna fall back under. They think they're gonna fall back under how it was before he came. That's what they think gonna happen.
yeah, man. And when I think about this whole thing, um like I said, the Nick Saban retirement, we got into that, was very abrupt. I didn't see it coming. I thought he was gonna try this 12-team playoff thing out, and then whatever happened, then he would retire. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought how it would go. But Obviously, that didn't happen. But then, like, I see all these like people, even in my fan base, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure y'all had to deal with that with Ogeron, right? After winning that national championship, um, the unrealistic what's the word?
Expectations.
Expectations, yeah. The unrealistic
Yeah.
expectations of not understanding that your team was otherworldly talented and you're losing all those players, right? So it's gonna be hard to repeat anyway, right? So let's not think we're gonna repeat. Let's just build it back up to that level, right? And I felt like for y'all, it was rough. You know what I'm saying? Because people,
Yeah, but he wasn't doing what he needed to be doing. It like Nick Saban's, even Nick Saban or some of these other coaches, they have such a well-oiled machine. I mean, that was such a flash in the pan, not flash in the pan, magic in a bottle to where like the first year falling off, I'll give a pass to that. But I feel
when
like when you
that
go
COVID,
2 years
right?
in a row with like 5 wins, that's when it's kind of like, okay, like what are you doing? Like
Yeah,
you should have been hitting it up in the recruiting trail a lot better. But obviously, he had coaching changes and things like that as well. But yeah, I get that.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, man, and not to like throw shade at your school, but I'm just saying that's how it feels. It feels like,
Yeah,
people are having these unrealistic expectations about Bama like falling off. And I'm like, no, it's really not like that because a lot of the players that are leaving are talented players but really didn't want to be there anyway. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Because their motives weren't just playing for the University of Alabama. It
they wanted to
was,
play for Nick Saban. Some of them.
yeah, it was Nick Saban and it was NIL and things like that. But it never was like, let me play for the University of Alabama, right? The history, the players, you know what I'm saying? The fact that, you know, Bear Bryant was kind of one of the guys that wanted to integrate the SEC. You know what I'm saying? Way before people wanted to. You know what I'm saying? And like the fact that it's one of the first schools to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like the history of Alabama being, a historical program, man, over the last 50, 60, 70 years, whatever you want to call it. Like the history of Bama is like crazy long, right? It's a lot of winning. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, it's some dry spells, right? Every program's got it. But nobody, it seems like those players didn't really want to be there for that. And I'm like, okay, now we you take a step back and it's like, they point the fingers, ha 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 ha, everybody's leaving, Caleb Downs, Isaiah Bond, the 5-star quarterback that transferred right after signing all this paperwork and everything. Like it's cool, right? It's cool to laugh or whatever. But pay attention to what's happening now. That the dust has settled, that everybody's kind of left, and who's still there, right? Nick Saban is still there. He ain't went off into the sunset. He's still there. You know what I'm saying? Offering as much help as he can offer without
That's
getting
what I'm
in the
saying.
way.
People don't recognize that. They don't want to talk about that part of it.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about that part. They don't want to talk about that the coach that we hired isn't just, somebody that ain't worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? He just got off a national championship appearance. He's built up 2 or 3 Power 5 schools that are still really good schools after he's left them. Let's just be honest with that. Then you bring in your offensive coordinator from the school you just left. So there's continuity on offense. You know,
So what happened to Tommy Reeves?
I think he's in NFL job. Yeah, I think he's an
I'm sorry for
NFL.
cutting you off. I just thought about that. I didn't know what happened with that.
No, 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 no. I think he's got an NFL job now. I think he's gonna do some offensive assistant type thing. and just kind of build his resume up from there because he's only like 32. So I think he's probably going to be fast tracked to an offensive coordinator position in the next 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Isn't if faster than that because he's really good. He's really, really smart. So I think that's kind of where he's going. But like I said, man, people not paying attention to that. Fact that we got this a head coach from South Alabama who's gonna be the defensive coordinator, and he talks about, his players like they are definitely his kids. You know what I'm saying? Which is like something that you want your coaches to really do. Like I said, I'm not really sure on other things as far as assistant coaches, but I know we kept the running back coach, so that's a holdover. So I don't expect no transfers out of the running back room for real. Except for I think Roydell Williams. I think he transferred somewhere else.
Yeah, he
But
left.
yeah, but I mean that was it. But I think that was gonna be a foregone conclusion because he saw how good Justice Haynes was in his 5 carries in that playoff game. I can't compete with that coming next year. I ain't gonna be able to start over that. You know you're not. So it's okay to leave because you're not gonna be able to beat that in the spring. That's too good. That's too good for you to beat. And the fact that you weren't a world beater this season that just passed, like you're not gonna compete with that, right? So I'm okay with a player leaving like that, but pay attention to the subtle changes, right? The center position is gonna be completely different. I would say we probably won't have to worry about bad snaps for real because we got a guy that is young enough to really understand. Okay, I need to. This is something that's gonna have to be worked on. Like I saw that, so I don't want to have to go through that. You know what I'm saying? And then we got a guy like I forgot the guy from Washington, but he's like their kick returner, Swiss Army knife. Um, and we got him from Washington. We got the center from Washington. We got a backup quarterback that's like 6'6" from Washington, bro. Like everybody that he can get his hands on from his old team that's looking for a new challenge, we getting it. We just had a visit from I forgot the name, his last name is Muhammad, but he was like Washington's best corner, and he was on a
Hmm.
visit to Bama, I think, over the weekend or whatever. So he's, a possibility, you know what I'm saying? So and then he's winning, DeBoer is winning and recruiting, man. But it's like it's not it's a lot more inclusive than exclusive when it comes to Bama. Like it's not all about Nick Saban anymore. Oh, I'm coming to play for the best coach in the thing. No, you're coming to be a part of something different, which I think is gonna be a big battle cry as far as why we're gonna start winning and recruiting. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of guys are gonna not be recruited by Bama. Good players. Don't get me wrong. There's gonna be a lot of good players that are gonna be passed on because they're not looking for the being a part of the culture. They just want to play for Nick Saban. But no, they want to be a part of this culture, this change of the guard. You know what I'm saying? So the next 3, 4 years, just pay attention to recruiting and not the rankings of the classes because that can lie to you, but pay attention to the quality of guys that you're getting. You know what I'm saying?
He has experienced everyone in the country. Though. He can dip his hands everywhere. It doesn't just have to be in the South. Like he probably can find a lot of gyms like in the Northeast, Northwest, stuff like that too.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, man, he has a lot of connections, man, and I feel like a lot of the older players are really kind of picking up the slack because a lot of former players that maybe aren't playing in the NFL are coming back to really give back to the school, man. And that's what I talk about culture, man. It's a complete different ball game, man. When your players come back because they really love the school, it's a different ball game when you're talking to recruits, man. because they can give you an insight on, man, this recruit ain't worth it because he ain't worried about the school. He want to worry about other things. He ain't really talking about bettering himself. He want to make NIL money. You know what I'm saying? Or he ain't as serious as far as you think. And that's a good indicator of a culture being built that's different than what it was. And I feel like everybody's job is open for taking. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it's a
That's a
new
good place
coach.
to be in, man. That's a
It's
good
a,
place for y'all to be in. Y'all not starting
that's
from the
what I'm
very
saying,
bottom. It's like a
man.
refresh. It's a refresh, but you still have the brand. It's not
Yeah.
like you have a refresh and it's a complete clean slate. It's really not because you still have the name, you still have good coaches on staff. And I mean, you're in a good location, man. And he's still in the building. Like, obviously, he's not going to probably be as hands on, but at least you know things are going to run smoothly. You have a coach who's made it to the national championship game. He's going to bring a new fresh set of faces, new mentality, new culture. Like a lot of people are going to want to buy into that because it's different. It's new. They don't have to worry about, man, I'm going to go play for Nick Saban and I'm going to sit for 2 years and I'm going to have to transfer out because this and that. Like it's not like that anymore. Like
Nope.
things will definitely be a lot different.
Nope. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I told you, man, I think spring and summer are gonna be huge as far as even solidifying the roster for next season because like it's gonna be a lot of people that want to leave that probably are on the fence of transferring, so they didn't jump in the portal because they feel like they have a chance to compete, right? But when they realize that they're not going to have that opportunity, those players are going to want to come to Bama to play because they see what's happening. So I feel like now it's kind of even kill, like everybody's kind of like still figuring it out. But once you start solidifying the roster and start getting in the spring ball, that's when you're gonna start adding some pieces, man. And like I said, you start seeing how the offensive philosophy looks and things like that. Because I expect us to be a 40 point a game team next year because we're not playing with none of that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna use Jalen Miro like you're supposed to, and you're going to be able to have more weapons. You know what I'm saying? As far as passing the ball, you're gonna be able to get them the ball. Now I'm under the impression that Jalen Miro will be okay. He'll be the starter going in the spring, right? But the growth that he has to make passing the ball is what's gonna be the key to
Well,
him.
he's got to make a lot of growth, to be honest with you, because the coach who's there didn't recruit him, so he doesn't have any allegiance to him. So if he feels like I want to roll with this guy that I brought in, or
That's
this
my
guy gets transferred in, I mean,
That's my
hey,
point. That's my point. Now I'm a Milrow supporter, you know that, so I know the growth he has to make. But I still say we're gonna be a 40 point a game team scoring next year, regardless of who's at quarterback, because we're
yeah,
gonna
because they're gonna
be
run that open offense they ran at Washington.
exactly, which is not as pass happy as you think, because they can run the ball. They ran the
They're
ball
gonna utilize the run to open up the pass.
exactly. Because dude, their running back had a couple of 150-yard games. You know what I'm saying? So it's not gonna be as pass happy as you think, man. So I like the balance of that, man. So but last thing, man, before we just bring it to a close, man. Recruiting, man. So remember I told you that all the recruits are leaving, man, and everybody's like, "Oh man, it's sad and boo-hoo," right? But uh Coach DeBoer pulled off one of the best recruiting jobs I think everybody should look at, man. So Ryan Williams is this five-star recruit from the state of Alabama. He reclassified from the next year's class to be in this one. So he would have been like top three in that class, but since he's in this class, he's like 13th or something like that. But regardless of numbers, he's the same type of player that Julio Jones was. Not in terms of playing style, but importance on rebuilding. your
Mm-hmm.
recruiting base because Julio was such an important player. Um, as far as rebuilding what Alabama was, as far as on the recruiting trail. Because when the Julio Jones domino fell and he committed to Bama, you get players like Dante Hightower, Drake Kirkpatrick, Courtney Upshaw, Mark Ingram, people like that. Those players committed after Julio Jones did. So now you start building it. But Ryan Williams is that important piece because he's the top player of the, I guess you say this year's cycle or next year's cycle, but he's the most important player. And he was so important that, when Nick Saban left or retired, he decommitted, which means everybody is open game now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But he showed up to the same visit that Muhammad came on. Um, and it was kind of unannounced. But everybody from all of the media websites that I check out all said the same thing. After this visit, they could tell visibly that he was gonna commit again to Bama, and that's what happened. He committed, I want to say earlier today or whatever. He committed back to Bama, which is a huge get because now all the recruits that are on the fence now probably won't be on the fence much longer. You know what I'm saying? Because they see how good it is. Like if he gonna stay, well, I might want to check out Bama too. So I think that was one of the huge things I read over the course of the last 8-10 hours or whatever, is that he's staying. And hey, I'm all for it, man. I think everybody's comparing him to like a Smitty type player. Um, it's fast and wiry, and probably gonna be used as kick returner, punt returner, or whatever. But something like that. So I think it'll be real fun, man. Like I said, man, buckle up, cause this is about to be fun. Okay, it's about to be fun, man. Like I said, what do you think? Did you think it would be like this, man? Coming into what 2024, 2024, 24, yeah, 24, 25, that Nick Saban wouldn't be the Alabama head coach. Do you think that at all?
No, I didn't think that, but I didn't expect us to fire pretty much our whole defensive staff and bring them back with really good guys either. So, I mean, a lot of unexpected dominoes falling as we speak, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. But like I said, man, this is the episode, man. The end of the episode. So, great topics, man. Can't wait to watch these NFL games this weekend, man. Looking forward to more college football news, man. Recruiting is always going. It ain't no off season, as Josh Pate always says. But before we get up out of here, man, anything you gotta say?
Yeah, guys, we just thank you guys for the ride. Thanks for all the people who have been constant supporters, constant feedback. We just appreciate you guys. If you guys do like this kind of content, we'd really recommend to subscribe. If you like this video, make sure you like the video, drop some feedback, leave a comment. Make sure to hit that bell notification too, just in case you're on the go, you won't miss any videos, any shorts, any community posts, anything like that. Everything go right to your phone. Like you said earlier, we're on all audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Podcast, Deezer, all that good stuff. So if you want to pop something in you when you work out or on the go right ahead. Like you said, also, it is cold outside. Check out Shopify, get you a nice soft hoodie, represent the brand, and help us grow to 17,000 subscribers. And let's go watch Detroit make the Super Bowl and beat Lamar Jackson. Go
Don't do
Detroit.
that. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You ain't gotta go that far, man. You ain't gotta do that. Lamar Jackson is the
Motor City.
future.
Let's go
He
Motor
is
City.
he is the future of the NFL. Stop playing. Stop playing. It's gonna look 15 years from now, you're gonna see thousands of Lamar Jacksons.
Yeah. My team's probably going to get one of them with the third pick, so we'll be okay.
There you go. There you go, man. But I'm Cam. That's Brandon, man. This is a Football Friend of Mine podcast. Signing off.